as the obsessive compulsive gamer. One second. Sorry. I'm playing Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I finished Amnesia Rebirth, and I wanted to play more Amnesia. So, I decided I'd come back and play the first game again. I played it before, but I haven't streamed it to YouTube, so... Hard mode is bullshit, by the way. Do not play fucking hard mode. It's not designed properly. It breaks the fucking game. It was so tedious and so awful. Fuck hard mode.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... Yes. I am Daniel.
Yeah, at the beginning he's all weary and kind of groggy. You have to get over that part. Fell to the kitchen floors. Tears were beginning to well in his eyes as he received the first kick in his stomach. Hazel remained hidden in fear she too would be punished. Yeah, Daniel was abused when he was a kid.
August 1839. I wish I could ask how much you remember. I don't know if there'll be anything left after I consume this drink. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
What am I supposed to do after here? Oh, wait a minute. I'm a dummy. Entrance hall. Traveling to Dover meant going through Canterbury. He made sure to pay a visit to avoid the sense of guilt connected with neglected family.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brandenburg.
It's best to use the lantern in places you're going to quickly move through. And there's a shadow. And better to use the tinderboxes in places you're going to have to revisit often, because they stay constant. Lights are fixed. Mine cellar. Laboratorium. Archives. Let's go to the archives. A fragrant taste of rose lingered in his mouth. Turkish delights, he thought, just like the ones at the consulate in Constantinople. Such a fun word to say, Constantinople. Or, it's been in a lot of different names. I ran with the pillars and shit like that. I forget. Constantinople's had several names. Yeah, fuck your chair. Wilhelm's contract. I hereby offer my full attention and services to Alexander, Baron of Brandenburg. This contract will reign for a total of 3 years when my freedom shall return to me. In addition, Alexander, Baron of Brandenburg, is to recommend my services to the Prussian royal court within the sanctum of the Order of the Black Eagle. May no man break the seal. Wilhelm. House of Garrick. Or Garrich? It's a bunch of German names, so it's kind of hard to say sometimes. Forgive me if I butcher them.
May 1839. The unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk. How Professor Herbert managed to find the location in these vast plains of nothingness remains a mystery to me. When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark, cold night. Tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
Yeah.
"17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write. I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger. Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off whatever lay ahead. I gave the order to raise it, and as I pushed through the narrow space, the heavy stone suddenly dropped, sealing me inside. I was trapped.
The story is definitely one of this game's greatest strengths, and it's one of the reasons why it's so good. This game is much more story-focused than other games of its ilk, to its benefit and to its detriment. Nope. Really? Moving out.
Much of the castle is old and hasn't been tended to for centuries. When the shadow arrives, it won't take long until things start falling apart.
We're just buying time anyway. Let's do what we can.
There isn't much to be done about the wars. We should reinforce weak structures. The ground will tremble, and there's a risk everything will cave in on us, especially downstairs. Here, and there. Let's get the servants working on it.
Oh, wait, that's right. Yeah, fuck you.
You have to be swift when you activate the first one. You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
Alstadt and Brennenburg Castle, 1801. Another region rich with lore is Alstadt. Deep within the East Prussian woods for centuries, there have been stories surrounding the hamlet and its neighbor castle, Brennenburg. The quaint, forest-clad mountains dressed with scattered lakes is as picturesque as can be, albeit the area is haunted by the dark. Ask any local and you will hear proof of the widespread superstition. All travelers should indulge themselves in such conversations, since it will certainly serve as exciting entertainment. All of them have their own twists on the tales, but there are some motifs that keep appearing. The Gatherers. This story reaches all the way back to the time of the 30 Years' War. It is said that soldiers who abandoned their duty got lost in the cold, dark woods and were forever damned to roam the grounds. Their bodies, wrought by their tainted souls, have left them disfigured and empty of essence. Many have sighted them over the years and described them as horrid revenants. They move silently through the woods, shying away from any beholder. They are called gatherers, as they seem to follow some ambition to steal living creatures. It is their prey which can be heard struggling inside damp burlap sacks dragged behind them, which reveal their presence. What dark scheme do they follow? A visit undone. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, the well-known erudite, visited Alstadt at the start of the 16th century. He resided in a local inn for a fortnight, about 2 weeks, mind you, as he looked for remnants of kingdoms past. During his stay, all the prominent members of society paid notice, and he is mentioned in many records of the time. One day he went to investigate a burrow in the northwestern glades, only to never be seen again. Heinrich is known to have passed away in Grenoble some 10 years later. He dismissed the notion of ever visiting Alstadt, which makes you wonder what really happened. Who is this mysterious man who visited the sleepy hamlet in the woods, and what happened to him? The Immortal Baron. The Baron of Brennenburg lives a reclusive life with his family at his castle nearby, Alstadt. And like most of those noble births, rumors are inherited along with the title. Researching the history reveals little before the castle was consumed by fire in the late 16th century. It was rebuilt by Alexander, a nobleman from the Rhinelands claiming the role as protector of the Prussian state. Alexander helped the region to flourish and remain popular throughout his preceding lifetime. The family has always been secretive when it comes to lineage and heritage. Therefore, the birth and death of Alexander and his offspring has never been fully recorded. This has fed the idea that the Baron is in fact the one insane who came from the west over 300 years ago, lived through the time of occupation, and joined the coveted Order of the Black Eagle along with the great leaders of this country. The lore in this game is delicious. Delicios. So I got a book over here, got a book over here. Okay. Regarding closing of the wine cellar. Wilhelm and his fools have endangered my research long enough with their absent-minded handling of the human vessels. The sheriff is keeping a watchful eye on the forest, and is killing my trusty servants. It's just a matter of time until they follow the trail to Brennenburg. I need to lock Wilhelm and his men up to avoid further investigation from the public. The wine cellar will therefore be sealed off until the matter has been handled. Either the king's men leave, or they will starve. Whatever comes first, they can rot for all I care. Maybe I will feed them some wine. It would, in a sense, solve both of my problems. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. That's the first time you get a real glimpse of the gatherers, the monsters of this game. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Woo! It was done, the men said. The tomb had been revealed. Tenanan awaits, grinned the toothless foreman. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Ooh. A handful of sand trickled from the crumbling stone ceiling and pushed down the brim of his hat. He braced himself as the cavern suddenly shifted and settled.
Baron go?
Who cares? He left us enough wine to last us a lifetime. Or at least until tomorrow.
I just got knocked the fuck out. Oh, really? Come on.
What's happening? Oh, feels like my chest is going to burst. Oh.
My God! Wilhelm, do something!
Accept it. We're not getting out of here.
How can you say that? Alexander, you piece of shit! Let us out of here!
Wilhelm's last words. My name is Wilhelm, House of Garrick. These are my final words, my confession and testament. 2 years ago, I was summoned to the Castle Brennenburg. As most of the aristocracy, I was curious about what the supposed knight of the order could want from me, and accepted the invitation. The Baron was friendly and offered me a proposition. It dawned on me that the nature of the contract was sordid, and that the reason I was chosen was because of the follies of my past, and not the honors I've been rewarded with during my time as a soldier. I was to kidnap wealthy humans upon his slightest whim, and do so without asking questions. In return, he would attest my character at the royal court, advancing my position with noble society. I would like to claim that I struggled with my decision, but it came swiftly and I accepted wholeheartedly. Ever since that day, I brought men, women, and children to Brennenburg. I can't remember the numbers, but they were many. Perhaps even 100, none of whom were ever seen or heard from again. Tonight, the Baron invited me and my men down to the wine cellar to celebrate our work. I had my suspicions as we descended the cellars, but he insisted and joined us in a toast. The wine tasted fine, and my men drank without restraint. So begins the punishment for our sins. The Baron has locked us up and returned upstairs. Forgive me for what I have done. I was weak and fell into his diabolic ways. My men are screaming. Their skin has been pierced by their own tangled bones. I feel my insides revolt against their God-given nature. Blood has begun to pour from my eyes, and I can no longer... Some pretty fucked up shit. Oh man, there are times when you cut the tension in this game with a fucking knife. I think I found everything. I'm not sure. Ah, fuck, I didn't either. I'm glad I decided to come back. It became impossible to avoid. The commotion in the streets begged for his attention. As he opened the shutters, the French soldiers opened fire on the two young men fighting back. Their voices were silenced in a haze of gun smoke. Yeah, the shadow's blocking my way, so that must be a sign. Okay, After enduring 3 days in Algiers, the Sebos finally arranged to take him across the Mediterranean Sea to Gibraltar. Having reached British territory, it was just a matter of reserving a cabin on SS Hortensia, headed for London. How come every time I come around my... Oh, God. I kind of don't have a lot of tinderboxes left. Oh, tinderbox!
There should be more coop rats. Let me see. And one part aqua fortis.
No. The lack of a chimney to properly vent the fumes from my most recent experiments has taken a toll of many of my less stable ingredients in storage. Some seem unaffected, but many are stained by the fumes and will be difficult to salvage. I shall do what I can to move them to the wine cellar. Early alchemy experiment. This is my third attempt to produce artificial vitae. And you know what? I'm going to say vitiae. The former compounds lack the potency I need, but I sense I'm close. Calamine and opperman are given, and the cuprete binds them all. This time I will attempt aqua regia instead of aqua fortis, and hope it will produce a more even solution. The experiment was successful. The solution is highly acidic, and proves impractical to put to any use except as a detergent. Organic tissue reacts especially violently to the solution and should be handled with the greatest care. I might be able to use the recipe, but I'm losing hope that it will find an alchemic solution to my predicament. One day I'll return. If it wasn't for the thought of you, my love, I wouldn't be able to go on. When I find myself doing terrible things, I take comfort in you. As long as I am able to think of you and long for a life together, I know I'm better than the others. I weep for them. They just lust for power without restraint, where I only crave fair judgment and a safe return. The cloth smelled of desert and damp dusk. The pieces lay scrambled on top. Too many of them, he thought. Or perhaps too few. Oh, shit. Well, that's not good. Shit, I'm running along lantern. Refinery. He sat down by the chasm wall, gasping for air. Sweat poured from his forehead and on the sand-veiled ground.
It sure is dark in here.
Yes, and there's a good reason for it. But you can light the lamp now if you wish.
What's the reason? For the darkness, that is.
Stay close. Be careful not to stray.
What's the reason? Why is it so dark?
Pay attention, Daniel. It's important that you keep going straight and make sure not to stray.
God.
June, 1839. It's been more than a month since my last entry. After the event inside the underground chamber in Algeria, Professor Herbert insisted I return to England. He said he didn't want to risk forfeiting the entire expedition lest I took a turn for the worse. An excessive decision, in retrospect. But I'm glad it turned out that way. I found my journal this morning in the haphazard collection of things brought home from Africa. Next to it lay the broken stone orb wrapped in cloth. I tried to assemble it, but couldn't. The pieces wouldn't fit together, as if they weren't from the same object. Could I have imagined it all? Was there ever a complete orb? 25th of June, 1839. I feel the need to continue this journal, even though it was intended for my journey to Africa. This must be something very important. I just know it. I've taken it upon myself to piece the orb back together, but it's been more difficult than one might think. The pieces are behaving strangely. They seem to change color, shape, and texture, but ever so slightly. Yesterday, I took careful measurements and notated any significant markings. Today, I confirmed my suspicions. They were changing. I was terrified and rushed off to see the finest geologist in London, Sir William Smith. I approached the subject with care, and we discussed how rocks change form. He told me about the nature of glass, how it eventually collapses on itself, like ice slowly melting over the course of centuries. Smith eased my mind a bit, but I can't escape the feeling that these shards have otherworldly properties.
That's how you know your sanity is fucked. Fuck yeah. He crashed to the surface. The dark Atlantic water smothered him as he struggled to make sense of the situation. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh man, this part still gets me. Fuck. Fuck! Oh no. No! Fuck you! Oh my god. No. Oh my god, no, no, no. Fuck. Ah, he's right there. Son of a bitch. Shit. No. Fuck you, dude. Something large pressed against his leg, and he felt himself being dragged along by the current of the beast. He pushed himself above the surface. Help, he cried as Social swallowed him again. Shit. He felt himself being hoisted out of the ocean. The lack of hold of SS Hortensio glittered in the soothing warm yellow light of the setting sun. He turned his head to the calm ocean region towards the coast of Portugal and thought, is this another dream?
You have an ascending room. Will it take us to the inner sanctum?
It will definitely take care of the vertical part of our journey. So, you have ridden an elevator before?
Yes, the Colosseum at Regent's Park has one. It takes you to the gallery where you can view the panorama.
Good. This ride might be a little longer, and in the other direction.
thin, cold mist brushed his face as he stepped outside. London weather could be cruel, but it was the kind of cruelty he could handle. Really, dude? Alexander, I prepared the explosives you needed for clearing the flood drain. I can't stress enough how important it is that the mixture is handled with care. Please try to tell your featherbrain servants this before you go ahead with your plans. The liquids are not by themselves explosive and should be kept separated to avoid further mishaps. I've arranged 2 large vats in the next room for the ingredients. All you need to do is mix the liquids and you're good to go. Agrippa. Okay, apparently there's another drill part I'm missing. Alright, this is where I'm going to end this part. We'll see you guys in a bit.